Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you. This is a new presentation from www.central-mosque.com and the Humble Heart YouTube channel. Today we're going to discuss the Houthi drone attack on Tel Aviv, the capital of Israel, and Israel's retaliation in Yemen. In the top right-hand corner right here, there'll be the playlist where I've discussed similar topics of very recent past. Please feel free to watch it. Also, in particular, the one where I'm saying if things continue on the trajectory that they're on, I do not believe that Israel will last in its current configuration. So on July 19th, 2024, there was a Houthi drone attack on Tel Aviv, and it hit this apartment building, which is not very far from where the US consulate used to be in Tel Aviv, which Donald Trump moved to Jerusalem. At the time, the media was saying this was an Iranian Samad 3 drone, which is, to be honest, not a very high-tech drone. It has got a payload capacity of only 40 kilograms, 5 hours of endurance, which a range of about 1,600 kilometers, which when launched supposedly from Yemen, we will put it right at its outer edge of its performance. Since then, new facts have come about this drone. So, first of all, this presentation is not about the Houthis. The Houthis are a militia in Yemen. They are supported by Iran. They are quite proficient in drone warfare, which they used against not only the state forces of Yemen, but also against Saudi Arabia. And now they're launching some of them against Israel. They claim that this was an upgraded version of Samad 3, and it is fired roughly from, over 1,000 miles away from Israel. Now, when it comes to Israeli air defenses, we know that they use 3 separate systems. What commonly people, who watch the Western media, they know about the Iron Dome. See, the Iron Dome is for short-range missiles fired from, either within Israel or from Lebanon, neighboring Lebanon. Then for medium-range missiles, they have the David Sling, and for ballistic missiles, they have the Arrow. So the Arrow, they have 2 different versions of it. They have Arrow 2 and Arrow 3. So Israel has a pretty comprehensive and network-centric air defense system. This unsophisticated, low-tech drone was able to beat. So Iron Dome is not designed for that, by the way. There's been some people in the media, they're talking about it's a failure of Iron Dome. It is not the purpose of Iron Dome to actually intercept drones like such, although it can. But it is basically, it went through the defenses undetected from Arrow 3, Arrow 2, David Sling, and landed in Tel Aviv. Now, this is very surprising because, as I said, this is a very low-tech drone. So the only thing that comes to my mind is the Israeli air defenses are exhausted. The people behind it are maybe exhausted because of constantly dealing with the attacks from Hezbollah, also from Hamas, and now from a new vector, which is an attack from Yemen. So I found in an article in the Times of Israel, and an Israeli military official who spoke on the condition of anonymity said a very big drone has been detected, but the alarm was not immediately raised because of human error. So as I'm saying, this is what went through my mind, that the Israeli air defenses are overwhelmed. The personnel who are manning these systems are overwhelmed and unable to pay attention because this is not a high-tech drone. And the Israeli military is kind of right in saying that. Now, it is possible that this upgraded drone has special paint. They're able to deflect some of the radar rays, etc. But to be very honest and to be truthful, it should have been detected. Now, here comes the crux of what I want to concentrate on in today's video. So Israel, they have to retaliate, right? Israel, you've seen my previous videos, I keep talking about it, and they have to give an overwhelming response to everything. So they decided to attack the Houthi-controlled port. In fact, actually, it's a port in Yemen, not really Houthi-controlled. It's under the state government control of Yemen, and they struck this port, which is, of course, over 1,000 miles away from Israel. And Israel is saying that the assets that they used was F-35 jets and F-15 fighter jets. Now, it's impossible for these fighters to actually be launched from Israel and go all the way to Yemen, attack, and come back. They have to be supported systems in the middle, for example, refueling tankers, etc. So What they're saying that there was no American military involvement, and Israeli military officials said the United States had been updated ahead of the attack. I do not believe that. It's not possible for this attack to have taken place without some sort of support from the United States or NATO, whether it's intelligence support or etc. But it could be something even bigger than that. For example, refueling and so on and so forth. So this is an example of the Dahiya doctrine that Israel uses, and I've talked about it. Please feel free to click on the top right hand corner and you will see some of the Israeli military doctrines that I talk about. So the Dahiya doctrine in Israel is, once again, this is the punishing military doctrine which targets civilian infrastructure, right? The world knows about it, the world is aware of it, it is not a secret, yet nobody does anything about it. If there was any other nation that targeted, so Houthis are basically, what are Houthis? Houthis are basically a ragtag non-state actors, bunch of militia, right? They do not control the government of Yemen, although the government of Yemen, is anti-Israel, no doubt about it, but the Houthis are non-state actors. No other legitimate country in the world against United Nations regulations and policies attacks a civilian infrastructure in a foreign land. Israel does that and gets away with it. Now, attacking a target, a port which is controlled by the government of another country is not going to do much to Houthis, because Houthis, as I said, are non-state actors. And to be frank with you, on an escalation ladder, there's not a lot Houthis can do, right? All the way, over 1,000 miles away from their borders. There's not a lot they can do. Simultaneously, you got to consider this, that Israel also is unable to do this every day. They cannot launch, attacks over 1,000 miles from their territory. So this was an attack on a civilian target. And when it comes to Houthis, you've got to understand that Houthis are being attacked and targeted by America and British and some NATO forces. And it's been ongoing for months, because they were trying to blockade some of the sea trade and the ships sailing in the Red Sea with minimal effect. The fact that Houthis are able to do this to Israel, that means all of the stuff the Americans, the NATO, and everybody else has been doing to the Houthis have been pretty much at minimal impact. So why has Israel done that? As I keep saying, that my theory is that eventually they want to escalate. So Israel wants, the only way for Israel to secure itself is to create a large buffer zone outside of its borders. It is pretty secure, as I keep saying, from the Jordanian side, because Jordan is basically a colony of Israel. But what they have to do is they have to secure their borders and push that threat away from their borders. However, the demographics don't work in Israel's favor, right? Having all these awesome systems like Iron Dome and, David Sling and Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 are fantastic. However, in order to defeat an enemy, you need boots on the ground. Israel just does not have that in the Middle East. And I keep saying that the only thing I can think of is strategically, and eventually they want to bring American troops and American boots on the ground in the Middle East, because that is the only way that Israel can actually secure its borders, by pushing the threat away, and they can't do that with their current capability. No matter how awesome their air defense systems are, or how awesome their missile technology is, etc., they have to create a buffer zone around Israel, other than Jordan. So if they keep on escalating, let's say, I've said that in previous videos here in the top right hand corner, that if they were to go escalate against Lebanon, and now they're doing it against Yemen, eventually, in order to defend Israel, America has to put boots on the ground in the Middle East. Either that, or America has to let go of Israel, right? And say, look, we're not going to get involved in your issues in the Middle East. So this is the trajectory where things are going. Do not see this attack on Yemen in an isolation. It's basically Houthis are a ragtag militia. Not a lot they can do to Israel, really. And also Israel cannot keep launching attacks against targets in a port which is state controlled. That really doesn't do anything to the capability of Houthis. Otherwise, the Americans, the British, and the NATO would have already done that. Okay. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.